The old operating model is dead. Why organizations must rebuild themselves for the AI era? For decades, businesses operated using the same formula. First, hire talented people, then build processes around how they work, then purchase tools to support productivity. People, process, tools, that model shaped the modern corporation. It built industries. It scaled global companies. It defined leadership for generations. But in 2026, that operating model is beginning to collapse. Not because people no longer matter, not because leadership is less important, and not because technology suddenly replaces human value. The model is collapsing because artificial intelligence is changing something much deeper: the structure of work itself. And most organizations still underestimate how disruptive that shift really is. This is not a software upgrade. Most companies still think AI adoption is a technology initiative. It is not. It is an organizational redesign event. That distinction matters because most leaders are approaching this moment the same way they approach previous software transitions: new system, new dashboard, new automation layer. But AI is fundamentally different from traditional software. Traditional software helped humans execute tasks more efficiently. Modern intelligence systems increasingly perform cognitive work that once required human effort entirely. That changes the foundation of organizational design. AI systems can now analyze complex information in seconds, generate reports instantly, support strategic decision-making, coordinate workflows, produce creative outputs, automate communication, simulate outcomes, continuously learn from operational data. In other words, the tools themselves are now reshaping how work happens. And once the nature of work changes, the organization must change with it. The new operating sequence. For decades, companies were designed around people first. The logic was simple: hire talented individuals, build workflows around them, then buy technology to support execution. But today, the sequence is reversing. The new operating model increasingly looks like this: tools, then process, then structure, then people, then culture. That sounds uncomfortable because it challenges traditional leadership thinking. But this is not about valuing technology more than people. It is about recognizing that modern intelligence systems redefine what work should even exist in the first place. The first strategic question leaders now need to ask is no longer, what talent do we need? The first question is, what capabilities now exist because of intelligent systems? Because once those capabilities become clear, the workflow changes. And once the workflow changes, the organization itself must evolve. Most organizations are making the same mistake. Right now, most companies are trying to fit AI into legacy systems. They are searching for the path of least resistance. They automate tasks, add co-pilots, speed up reporting, deploy chatbots, layer intelligence on top of existing operations. But underneath the surface, the organization remains fundamentally unchanged. The same approval bottlenecks exist. The same silos remain. The same inefficient decision structures survive. The same outdated workflows continue operating. This creates a dangerous illusion. It looks like transformation, but in reality, it is modernization theater. Because making a broken process faster is not transformation. It is acceleration of inefficiency. And that is where many organizations will get trapped over the next several years, not because they ignored AI, but because they implemented it superficially. Real transformation starts with a hard question. The organizations moving fastest right now are asking a very different question. Not, how do we integrate AI into the business, but if we were building this company today from scratch, would we design it this way at all? That question forces reinvention. Because once intelligent systems enter the equation, entire categories of work begin to change. Sequential workflows can become simultaneous. Human coordination layers can shrink dramatically. Information delays disappear. Decision-making accelerates. Operational visibility becomes real-time. This does not simply improve the business, it changes the architecture of the business, and organizations unwilling to rethink the architecture itself will eventually become structurally uncompetitive. Process design becomes the new strategic advantage. For years, leaders believed technology itself would become the differentiator. But increasingly, the competitive advantage is not the tool. It is the workflow built around the tool. Because eventually, most organizations will have access to similar technologies. The real difference will come from how intelligently workflows are redesigned, how quickly decisions move, how effectively humans and systems collaborate, how rapidly organizations adapt. This means process design is becoming a strategic discipline again, not operational administration, strategic architecture. The organizations that win will redesign workflows around speed, intelligence, adaptability, and learning, not around legacy departmental structures. Organizational structure must evolve. Once workflows change, structure must evolve with them. This is where many leaders still hesitate, because organizational charts often reflect historical power structures more than operational reality. But AI compresses coordination. It reduces communication friction. It automates information flow. It removes layers of administrative overhead. As a result, many traditional structures become increasingly inefficient. The organizations emerging now are becoming flatter, faster, more adaptive, more cross-functional, less siloed, more systems-oriented. Departments built for information management may disappear entirely. New functions will emerge around AI governance, systems orchestration, human-machine collaboration, workflow optimization, strategic intelligence management. This is not incremental restructuring. It is organizational redesign at a foundational level. The human role is evolving, not disappearing. One of the biggest misconceptions surrounding AI is the belief that human value diminishes as technology improves. In reality, the opposite is happening. As repetitive cognitive work becomes automated, the uniquely human capabilities become more valuable. Judgment, leadership, creativity, adaptability, systems thinking, strategic decision-making, emotional intelligence, trust building, contextual awareness. These capabilities become increasingly important in environments where information is abundant and change is constant. The future workforce will not compete against intelligent systems. It will collaborate with them, and organizations that fail to prepare people for that shift will struggle operationally, culturally, and strategically. Culture becomes the ultimate differentiator. Ironically, the more powerful technology becomes, the more important culture becomes. Because tools alone do not create execution, people do. And when advanced technology becomes widely accessible, culture becomes one of the few sustainable competitive advantages left. The organizations that succeed in the next decade will create cultures that are highly adaptable, fast learning, outcome-oriented, experiment-driven, collaborative, accountable, resilient under pressure. Most importantly, they will create clarity. Because complexity without clarity creates paralysis. People need to understand what matters, what success looks like, how decisions are made, where accountability lives, how they contribute to the mission. Without that clarity, even the most advanced systems create confusion instead of performance. This is a leadership test. This transition is not fundamentally a technology challenge. It is a leadership challenge, because leaders are now being asked to rethink assumptions that shape business for generations. How work gets done, how organizations are structured, how decisions move, how value is created, how people contribute. That requires courage. Because rebuilding an operating model means confronting uncomfortable truths about the limitations of the current one. Many organizations will resist this shift because preserving familiar systems feels safer than redesigning them. But the market rarely rewards comfort for long. The future will not belong to organizations that simply adopt AI tools. It will belong to organizations willing to redesign themselves around what is now possible. We do not need AI versions of old operating models. We need entirely new operating models designed for an AI-enabled world. Because technology may create leverage, but leadership, culture, adaptability, and human alignment still determine whether organizations succeed. The companies that win in the next decade will not necessarily have the best technology. They will be the ones willing to rethink the business before disruption forces them to.